This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome in, my friends, to another episode of Behind the Pen. My name is Mike Rankin, and I am your host today. And for this show, I am so honored to introduce two of the original Most Valuable Podcast members of our team, Mr. Mark Weber.
Dub them ease.
Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Guys, it is a pleasure to have you on, and we have a ton of talk about today, specifically Chicago Bears football, because we're all Bears fans here. Yeah. We're super frustrated, and we've been following this team against our will pretty much the entire season, and I can't wait to get into that with you guys. We're going to talk a lot about Jay Cutler. We got some future stuff with John Fox and this personnel squad, so curious to hear your thoughts, especially you, Mark, because I know on the onside kick you work with Ricky a lot, and you're kind of restricted to that guy's Vikings view. So
yeah, it's painful.
So working with another Bears fan is going to be fun. Also, we're going to talk about Major League Baseball news. Collective bargaining agreement has been agreed upon, and it's great, in my opinion. We're going to break that down. We're also going to talk about some off-season stuff regarding the Chicago White Sox, because you two are White Sox fans here. So we got so much on tap. Before we get into our first topic, which is the Chicago Bears, got to plug our Patreon page, patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. Donate whatever you can afford, and we will provide more content for you, and it helps us grow as a podcast station. As guys, we are almost at 5,000 subscribers.
It's crazy to think about. Like, Mark, your video recently talking about, a year ago we were sitting here at like 400, 500 subs.
Yeah.
And now we're pushing for 5,000.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see just how much growth there's been. I mean, you basically add a zero to the end of it.
So much growth.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Zero adds.
So much growth. You actually had 2 zeros. One of them's just in the front. But it's really nice to have just so much more. On our end of it, when we see comments and we see conversations and stuff like that, it's almost taking it for granted of the fact that at one point, I want to say long ago, but I guess it wasn't as long ago as I wish it was. There were times where you post a video and one person's like, "Oh, okay, what's up? This is my opinion," and that was it. Yeah, there was nothing else.
Well, it's just it shows thank you all for listening and following, subscribing, commenting, sharing. You're the best. You're the lifeblood of Most Valuable Podcast, and we hope to continue to grow and entertain you more. So subscribe to us on YouTube. I think we're doing a roast of you, Mr. Mark Weber, at 4,000.
Supposedly, that's what I've heard.
So we're excited for that. Keep an eye out. We're very close to that 4,000 mark, but our goal is 5,000. We can't thank you guys enough. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all these media outlets. That's the popular thing nowadays. So again, thank you all for listening, and we're gonna jump right into the Chicago Bears topic because really excited to talk about this. Well, all right. So we found out today that Jay Cutler is going to have surgery on his torn labrum in his right shoulder, which will effectively end his season. That will make 16 Chicago Bears players on injured reserve this year.
And we still got some games to go.
5. That's a lot of games
Horrifyingly.
left. And you think about it, 2-9, Matt Barkley the rest of the way. My gosh.
I mean, who's our backup after Barkley?
David Fales is back.
David Fales.
Nice.
Yeah, he's there.
I'm excited.
And I love the YouTube, not YouTube comments necessarily, but Facebook comments on various things where people are going, "Oh yeah, let David Fales play. That guy, he was there," and it's.
Yikes.
He lost his job and was fired by the Bears.
Yeah.
Then not picked up by anybody.
There's a lack of confidence
Nobody
there.
wanted him. At least Matt Barkley, someone said, "I guess we'll pick him up."
There's upside with Matt Barkley as a USC quarterback. I think there's a trend in all of those quarterbacks working out just great, right?
2 of them
right,
have
guys?
done okay.
Back me up.
2 of them are just fine.
I think before the start he had last week against the Titans, his QBR was 32, which is unbelievably terrible.
He's coming to not great situations.
Although,
as well.
to be fair, in this season, his QBR is 33.
Yeah, I mean, what was he, 28 of 54? Right? But he had a really impressive fourth quarter. We can break that down a little bit. But when you brought up Matt Barkley and David Fales, that's where the state of Chicago Bears are right now, the quarterback position. And I want to talk about this conversation specifically because what can you do to move forward if you're the Chicago Bears? Obviously, under this regime, you have John Fox and this coaching staff, Ryan Pace in his second year going into his third, that really wanted to build this foundation of young players, young playmakers. John Fox has had a lot of influence on this roster. You talk about, especially the defensive side, draft-wise. What are they going to do in terms of their quarterback, because last year they really didn't have a plan, right? They were just like, we're going to run with Jay Cutler, and it's not necessarily a bad one because he was owed guaranteed money, and he's still a talented guy, but you didn't draft a guy, right? You don't have anybody behind him. So if something catastrophic happens, like, I don't know, you go 2-9 and he gets injured twice this season, you're going to rely on Brian Hoyer, and then who else from Brian Hoyer?
Yeah.
What did this team do from here? Dave, I want to start with you.
Honestly, I mean, the cheap answer is you draft a quarterback, because that will solve some problems as far as trying to build this franchise up from the ground up. And that's where we are. We're at the ground. You have to admit, like, they're like, we'll rebuild and we'll add in new guys, but we're going to keep getting younger at the same time. No. We're at the ground. You got to go up from here. The problem is that, look, we've drafted, one quarterback in the last 5 years? I mean, as many quarterbacks as punters. A, insulting. B, really, really poor management by our owners. I mean, that's just horrendous. The problem is that this year's quarterback class isn't exactly, shining hope beacon out there. So I don't know. I mean, there's options. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discrediting any of these guys, but everybody is saying that, it could be better.
Well, before I jump over to you, Mark, I want to just build off of what you were saying with this quarterback class, because when do you commit to a quarterback? Do you take the risk of drafting somebody?
Every year till you get one.
Well, no. I'm saying, like, this year specifically, in terms of the first round, you're going to have...
Not a 3.
Right, you're going to have a top 4, maybe top 3, maybe even the second pick if you lose the rest of the game of the season.
Especially if you lose to the 49ers this week.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. Go 49ers. We're looking at this class. Mitch Trubisky, I guess, is getting a lot of positive grades here, especially with the Cleveland. I've been reading stuff with the Cleveland Browns. They're interested. Do you take a risk with Deshaun Kaiser, Watson, Brad Kelly, Brad Kaya, right?
Yeah, yep.
Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly,
not Brad Kelly. But all these
also
guys.
Coming off an injury.
Right, when you have these types of quarterbacks, do you risk jumping 2-1 at, say, 2 when you passing up really high impact players that can be on the field immediately?
God, I hope not. I mean, I know that the quarterback is the most important position on the field. I know the value of that, but I think this year, seeing Dak Prescott do it in the 4th round, seeing other quarterbacks in the league seeing success when they weren't, the first guy overall. I mean, Derek Carr didn't go super late, but he's doing fantastic, and I think that kind of gives credence to you can throw away. I want to say throw away. You can spend a pick every year on a QB in rounds, 2 through 5, and have hope for your franchise. You can have that constant stream of potentially this is your guy, because that's in the NFL today. You're not getting anywhere without a quarterback. You need a franchise quarterback. So if you're not spending time looking for one, you're actively getting worse. And that's my belief. I feel like Cutler, they were just too locked in on him. And even if you're the happiest man in the world with your quarterback, i.e. the Patriots, they're still looking. They're still always cultivating new talent behind him. And the fact that the Bears weren't is just a failure as a franchise.
And I think it's important to make the distinction that the Chicago Bears are constantly revolving offensive coordinators and slightly head coaches too.
6 and 8 years, 3 and 8 years.
So like the times when they do draft a quarterback, a guy I always think about, Nate Enderle, the Mike Martz quarterback. He was like 6'7", huge guy. He's going to take 7-step drops, and then Mike Martz is gone in like 2 years. Or maybe it was 3. And it's just like, okay, well, now we just have this guy on the roster that we have nothing to do with. We have no desire for him. A guy like David Fales, drafted by the last regime. The new regime comes in and they go, yeah, we don't really want that guy. So it's just this weird situation where, like, yeah, the Chicago Bears, when they have drafted quarterbacks, it hasn't done anything for them. So they need some sort of consistency. They need some sort of kind of plan and at least a consistent offensive idea. You mentioned a quarterback like Dak Prescott, and one of the great things for Dak Prescott is the fact that the team itself is just so damn good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't ask for a better situation to walk into.
Jared Goff does not have the same situation, number 1 overall, in Los Angeles now. And I know that some people are saying, oh, he's nothing, it's all about Carson Wentz. It's like, yeah, but the Philadelphia Eagles are a much better team than the LA Rams are.
Sure. And what? Goff has 1 start in his career. So how are you going to make that distinction?
And Carson Wentz has been
right away?
the whole time now.
Sure.
And he's seen some ups and downs. To be fair, I mean, Wentz started off hot, like absolute fire.
Yeah,
but like,
the Eagles came down to earth, right?
Yeah.
And that's gonna what kind of happens with these rookie quarterbacks in the league, especially coming from the situation where Wentz really wasn't supposed to be the starter. I mean, you went into the season with 3 legitimate quarterbacks behind, in front of him. So with the Bears, they have nobody. So where do they go from now or from here?
I mean, in Barkley we trust.
So, oh God, we have a situation where we're looking at this Bears team, and okay, Jay Cutler, best quarterback in the history of the franchise, and that's staying statistically because really they haven't had anybody, right? They haven't had any consistency, and we're not going to knock Cutler for, he has his problems, right? There's flaws in his game, obviously, but we're not going to knock him because he's not talented. He's, in my opinion, still a top 15 quarterback in this league, and if he goes somewhere else, he's still got life in his game. I'm sure he'll have success if it's given the right situation, but in Chicago had their opportunity for the first time really since I've been watching this team to capitalize on a franchise quarterback, and they blew it. They blew it in their first 4 years of the regime, right? Since they got him in 2009 over to 2013 to now. So now you are paying for it. And it's just, you both touched on it. It goes to management and the way they've kind of hired their personnel, the way they've gone about it. Well, Aaron Cromer? Are you kidding me? The guy's out of his mind. Mike Martz, he was having Cutler drop
He's
backs,
a relic of the past.
7 steps with a terrible offensive line.
The reason Greg Olson went to Carolina.
And they lost. It's just so many of these things. And
letting more players walk this past offseason as well. I mean, it's just,
absolutely. It's just, and of
they're
course,
sending mixed messages, and I think that's one of the biggest things I see with them is that there's a lot of indecision with the Bears management, and obviously the turnover is a heavy casualty of that, both in the staffing and the players. I mean, like you said, we've gone through how many head coaches, offensive coordinators.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, I understand bringing in John Fox where we were, and it made sense, on paper because look, John Fox has a reputation for now, I can take an average team and I can propel them into the playoffs, deep into the playoffs, and I've seen success there doing it. So we turn around, we get him year 1, we're all hyped up, and then now year 2, and we're watching a bonfire in front of us, and we're just like, he ain't the guy we need.
Yeah.
And I think part of it, too, is that you say that he is good at bringing the average team forward.
Right.
And it turned out that the Bears thought they were an average team, and they actually were a bad team.
That's so true.
So they really didn't have the pieces that John Fox needed to be successful. And, you have to ask the question then, it's like, okay, well, do we let him sit around and then we eventually get him those pieces to where he can start to be what we expect out of John Fox? Or do we say, all right, it's time to move on. It's time to do something else.
But do we turn on that franchise where we flip? I mean, are we the Cleveland Browns at this point?
Right.
I don't want to admit that.
It's risking it. Yeah, it's risking getting to it.
I feel like, and getting back to your main point about a quarterback coming in, I feel like you have to have the right head coach there to cultivate and offensive coordinator. I mean, Adam Gase was a freaking godsend, and what he got out of Jay Cutler was magic last year. And we all that was like, oh yeah, Cutler's worth the money. Totally, we're all in on him. Adam Gase gone. We see this offense again, like another offensive coordinator. Cutler doesn't care about he's not on the same page. So you see issues, you see more flaws in his game, and obviously he's hurt now, but. It's just the fact that we need to create the right environment to grow a young team. And I'm in the group that thinks that you need to have a head coach who is either offensive-minded or you need an offensive coordinator who is truly one of the best in the game in order to get this up and running.
So before I change topics here, because you all brought up really good points regarding the coaching staff, because in my opinion, I think John Fox should be fired after this season. But if you were the Chicago Bears, you were Ryan Pace, right? You have the number 2 pick. Who are you taking?
I'm going back.
You're trading?
I'm trading back. That's honestly, we need so many things that I think that you can go back. I think the Titans are the only team with 2 picks in the first round. And there's a chance if the Rams win a couple, like Mark, I know you always joke about, there's a chance that pick, might fall back to like the 10 to 13 range. We might be able to grab one of those and maybe like an early second or something. I don't know. There are teams out there. I just feel like we need more pieces than we have picks. And I think that if we trade back, that gives us better options because at the 2, at the 2 through 5 range? I mean, yes, there is fantastic talent, but at the same time, we need more than just one impact player.
You're saying that the number 2 pick is valuable because they could really, what the Bears need is a quarterback, and you're not going to waste the 2 on a quarterback that's a stretch.
I think that you could get at least 2. I know 2 quarterbacks will be there at the end of the first round.
Yeah.
and we're the second pick of the second round or third pick of the second round, whatever it turns out to be. So there's a chance we can snag our quarterback there. That's where I would target.
What the Chicago Bears is, and they're in a similar situation as they were last year going into the draft, is they just need playmakers. They need guys to get on the field to do things immediately now.
Draft picks doing things?
Right.
What?
And
This is witchcraft.
Kyle Long, Jordan Howard, right now is like the two that stand out for me.
And Kyle Long injured at the moment too.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you look back at our draft classes, the guys who should make up the core of this team from 2012, 2013, 2014, the impact players from those classes don't exist.
Chris Williams, Shea McClellan, Gabe Karimi, all those guys. They're just
that should be the backbone of our team right now. Those are the guys who are in the prime of their career.
Right. And we talk about the value in a first-round draft pick. And the Bears really going into this season and last season were in a position where they just wanted to be relevant again. And they took risks with Kevin White. They passed on Amari Cooper. Ryan Pace, he's on the hook too. He's on the hook too for this.